Welcome to Meditations from the Mound, a ministry of the Chestnut Mound Church of Christ located in Chestnut Mound, Tennessee. My name is Carver Moore. I'm one of the ministers for the Chestnut Mound congregation. I just want to thank you for making the decision to tune in tonight or whenever you're watching this. I hope that this short devotional will be uplifting to you. I hope that if you enjoy this message, if it resonates with you, I hope that if you're so inclined that you will share it with other people. And I hope that if you are looking for a congregation in your area, that you will look one up. Or if you live close to Chestnut Mound, you'll pop in on us sometime. At the end of this short devotional, I will give you some more information about our congregation. And we just would love to see you at any time you have the opportunity to do so. But in the time we have tonight, I want to look at the topic of be ready always. In 1 Peter chapter number 3, verse number 15, we're commanded to sanctify the Lord God in your hearts and always be ready to give a defense to everyone who asks you a reason for the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. So friends, I've said it many times. The members there at Chestnut Mound will attest to it. But friends, as Christians, we have targets on our back. Society has labeled us as such. When someone comes to us wanting to poke holes in the gospel, we must be ready and able to defend it. But tonight I want to ask you a simple question. What would you do if someone approached you not to try and poke holes in the gospel, but instead to ask you questions about what they need to do to become a Christian? Well, friends, luckily for us, we have a blueprint. We have a roadmap of what to do when this occurs. In Acts chapter number 8, verses 26 through 40, we are provided with the account of Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch. So Philip was an apostle of Jesus Christ. He had been preaching in Samaria, and he had just returned to Jerusalem. The Ethiopian eunuch, on the other hand, was not a Christian, was not a follower of Christ. He was the treasurer in the queen's court. He had been to Jerusalem on business, and he'd heard about the gospel. And he was returning home to Ethiopia, and he was reading from the prophets, from the book of Isaiah. An angel of the Lord appears to Philip one night and tells him to go and travel south along the road that leads to Gaza. So Philip does that. He doesn't backtalk. He takes off. And the reason he's supposed to take this specific route is because it's the same route that the eunuch is taking home. And Philip's job is to overtake the eunuch's chariot and to teach him the gospel of Christ. So in verse number 30 of Acts chapter number 8, we are told what Philip asks the eunuch. In verse number 29, he asks him a simple question. He says, do you understand what you are reading? And then the eunuch shoots back with a pretty good answer. An answer that's something that we should take into our hearts today. Verse number 31, the eunuch responds, he says, how can I unless someone guides me? So the two men, Philip gets up in the chariot with the eunuch, and the two men continue on the road toward Gaza. Philip teaches the eunuch and answers any of the eunuch's questions. And eventually in verse 34, the eunuch asks a question. He says, I ask of you, whom does the prophet say this, of himself or of some other man? And friends, we know who Isaiah was talking about. He was talking about Jesus Christ. And Philip explains that to the eunuch. And by verse 36, they come to a body of water. They command the chariot to stop, and the eunuch asks perhaps the most important question in the Bible. He asks Philip, he says, see, here is water. What hinders me from being baptized? What a wonderful question. The most beautiful question in the world. So we go on and we read that the two men get out, and Philip baptizes the eunuch in that water, immerses him in water for the remission of his sins. So friends, why am I going through and I'm giving you a short synopsis of the account of Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch? What can we take and apply to our lives in 2020? Well, Philip had to adjust his schedule. Don't you think that Philip had appointments? He had just returned to Jerusalem. Don't you think there was people he had to meet with? Things that he had to do. But when the angel of the Lord appeared to him, he didn't backtalk. He didn't resist the idea. He took off. He traveled south. He met with the eunuch, and he taught him. We also need to keep in mind that question, or that answer, really an answer that the eunuch gives Philip. He says, how can I, talking about understand what he's reading, he says, how can I understand what I'm reading unless someone guides me? Friends, how are people today, how are lost souls, people living in sin, or people that need to be restored to the church, how are they going to understand what they need to do? How are they going to understand the gospel of Christ? How are they going to understand the Bible unless someone is there to guide them? So think about all the people that you run into. What would you do if a coworker, a classmate, maybe somebody that attends church, comes up to you and asks you a biblical question, or asks to sit down with you and have a Bible study? Would you clear your schedule for that person? Or would you say, no, I'm busy, I've got to go do this? Friends, make the right decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do, because I think everybody knows what they should do after reading what Philip did. All I'm going to say is to make the right decision. So friends, not only should we always be ready to give a defense of the gospel, like 1 Peter tells us, but we should also always be ready to teach it. And especially, friends, when others take the time to ask us. Friends, I hope this lesson will resonate with you. I hope that it will be encouraging to you. I hope that if you like what you hear, you'll check out some of our other videos, and I hope that you'll make the decision to join us in person. The Chestnut Mound Church of Christ, our physical address, we meet at 545 Pea Ridge Road, just off Highway 70 in Chestnut Mound, Tennessee. We meet for Sunday morning Bible study at 10 a.m., Sunday morning worship is at 11 a.m., and Sunday evening worship is at 5 p.m. We hope to see you at one, if not all three, of those services. Friends, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and may God bless.